Hi, my name's Harry Jones. Welcome to my video essay for Behaviour and Motivation in Games, Art 3003. Today I'm going to be talking about motivating factors in Horizon Zero Dawn by Guerrilla Games. First off, obligatory spoiler warning if you've not played Horizon Zero Dawn yet and you don't have to watch this to assess it. With that out of the way, I'll be splitting this essay into two sections. Intrinsic motivators, which are factors that motivate you to play the game without any significant external reward, and extrinsic motivations, which are motivating factors based in external rewards, such as new gear or achievements. Let's start with intrinsic motivators, since Horizon Zero Dawn is a single-player game which relies more heavily on intrinsic motivators.
Now at this point, I'd also like to bring up Bartle's taxonomy of players. Bartle's taxonomy of players posited that there were 4 categories of player in games, particularly in multi-user dungeons or MUDs. Killers, who were trolls who wanted to break the game, socializers, who wanted to socialize with other players, whether they knew them in real life or not, achievers, who wanted to find the hard things that you could do in the game and do them well, and explorers, who wanted to know as much as they could about the game, about the story, and how to do things optimally. I personally consider myself an explorer foremost, particularly in Horizon Zero Dawn, which feels like it particularly caters towards that impulse. The story is set up so that every story mission gives you more pieces to the puzzle, but the more pieces you get, the more noticeable the missing ones become. So it sustains that tension and mystery without you just guessing where it's going hours before it gets there. And along the way, there's all this really cool world building, like the machine drinkers, the office politics of Project Zero Dawn and Pharaoh Automated Solutions, the way the relics of the old ones and the machines are viewed by each of the different tribes. One bit that particularly sticks out to me is that one guy in the cut, who, in the Frozen Wilds expansion, who found these holographic wildlife models commissioned by the Montana Department of Parks and Recreation, and he tried to go full paleontologist on them and figure out what these animals would have been like when they were alive.
Odocoius virginianus, the majestic mule deer. Brought to you by Montana Recreations.
Not built like a predator, but perhaps it needed those horns to take down its prey in the absence of sharp fangs.
Which motivated me to finish that collectible side quest far more than the achievement did. Same goes for the similar side quest in the same area in DLC, where you've got to find a bunch of pigments for an artist so that they can finish their cliff drawing. It fulfills the information and affiliation portions of Barbarossa's 6 needs. It also creates this sympathy for Aloy as a character, wanting good things for her. A satisfaction can be found in the combat as well, which motivates you to continue playing. The rule of cool is evident in a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn's design aesthetics, particularly in the combat area, the designs of the monsters, which means that even when the combat gets kind of frustrating, there's still a degree of, well, at least I'm fighting robot dinosaurs with a bow and arrow and a flamethrower rather than clicking away at grey-brown soldiers behind cover, which helps to temper those frustrations. The loading times also help to temper those frustrations. They give you time to calm down, have a drink, maybe finish that reading for university that you've been meaning to get around to.
One eternity later.
Going back to the combat, the bow and arrow takes some skill to use well, but it's intuitive to learn and upgrades like the time dilation make it easier to be good at while still feeling like a badass. Compared to, for instance, Valheim where the bow and arrow takes stamina to use, and you can't run while drawing it, and there's 1,000 petty niggles that make combat with it a pain to be avoided rather than a motivating part of the core gameplay loop. There's a combination of satisfying combat and story tension in Horizon Zero Dawn that me and I easily find myself entering the flow state coined by Mihaly... How the f*** do you pronounce his name? 1 second. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So now it's time to discuss the extrinsic motivation, the gear, the tangible rewards. This also ties into world building to an extent. The types of weaponry available to people who haven't quite caught back up to modern science in a lot of regards yet after Ted Faro destroyed Apollo, but have access to advanced technologies from the machines. Some examples of this are the force field armor, which Aloy has to adapt from an old prototype that she finds in a bunker, the Frozen Wilds elemental weapons like the flamethrower, the override ability using part of an old Pharaoh plague robot. The primary motivation is the story, and everything else in some way relies on that, either as the enticement to get through the sometimes frustrating combat, or as a way to provide a deep and fully realized world that's so immersive that you can even look past the graphics occasionally messing up and making it look like a Valheim character wandered into the wrong game.